right, everybody, this is our Silly Pints for our Pro Tour Patreons or patrons. $25 a month gets you a Silly Pint every event we have. Today, this Silly Pint is going to Sam Martinson. Sam, thank you very much for being a Pro Tour patron. Tom Schneider, thank you very much. This Silly Pint's for you. Thank you for supporting the Pro Tour. ShopTom.com. Thank you, Daniel Reynoso. This Silly Pint's for you. Thank you for supporting the Pro Tour. If anybody else wants to support the Pro Tour, go to patreon.com/DGPT. Maybe I'll be thanking you and giving you a Silly Pint. Brian Megason, thank you very much for your support of the Pro Tour. This Silly Pint's for you. Alan Risley, this Silly Pint's for you. Thank you very much for supporting the Pro Tour. And lastly, this Silly Pint's for you, Patrick Yo. Thank you very much for being a DGPT patron. Let's get back to the action.
Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 here at the 2017 Utah Open presented by Latitude 64. I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined by our Disc Golf Pro Tour Director, Steve Dodge. Steve, another gorgeous day here in Utah, beautiful course, a few rules, clarifications, we're ready to go.
We are indeed ready to go. The exciting thing that I saw from yesterday was the different ways that players got to this lead card. A couple guys shooting just one OB stroke, a couple guys shooting a handful or even more. There's lots of ways to play the course. You can be aggressive, you can be conservative. Either way, you need to hit your putts, you want to hit your lines. These greens are tight.
Well, we have, like I said, not a cloud in the sky. It's in the 80s right now, and the wind has just picked up. It was very calm for the women's round earlier today. And just to make a clarification, Paige Pierce was a withdrawal this morning. There was a family emergency, a lot of concern out there. We just wanted to let everyone know she's okay. She headed back to Texas to tend to a family emergency, so we wish Paige and her family the best. And Steve, I think we're ready to go. We've got a great group, Ricky Wysocki, Jeremy Koling, Paul Ulibarri. We saw all three of them yesterday, but now Bobby Love, as I call him, Bobby Musick's joining us. Should be a great group.
Should be a fantastic group. I see Rob is ready for the call. Let's let him go.
All right, and let's get to the action.
Welcome to the 2017 Utah Open, round 2, 2 o'clock tee time. This is our leader group. First on the tee pad, shooting a 50 yesterday, representing Latitude 64, coming to us from La Mirada, California, Bobby Musick.
Again, Rob on the call here with Bobby Musick, one of the 8 unders we saw yesterday. Powerful, low and direct, gets a little skip. Great way to start the round.
It reminds me of Robert Reich, powerful, low, and direct.
Also shooting a 50, coming to us from Mesa, Arizona, represented by Prodigy Disc, Paul Ulibarri.
Again, sticking with the low approach. No turn on that. Paul playing a gentle hyzer.
Shooting 50 as well, represented by Innova Champion Discs, your 2016 Utah Open champion, hailing from Charlotte, North Carolina, Big Jeremy Koling.
And a smash here by Koling as he's opening up on the first hole. Plenty of distance.
Shooting 50, your 2016 PDGA World Champion, represented by Latitude 64 and from Fort Mill, South Carolina, Ricky Wysocki.
And Rick also unleashing here on this opening hole. Par 4, 711 feet. That gets him going. We've got women's coverage from earlier today. Let's get to it. Paul Ulibarri, the first to throw his approach here. He has a slight uphill run up, and it looks like he's gone just deep past the basket on his second shot.
We saw a bunch of 4s here yesterday, Terry. It looks like by the crushes that Jeremy and Ricky put on this, they are looking to improve that score.
And Musick has a really good looking line on this, but it does come up short. I thought he had a little more distance there. Bobby, as walking down the fairway of hole 1, was making the joke that I don't throw as far as these crushers. And he's like, wait up, I'll catch up. So Bobby openly admits he doesn't have quite the distance that these other two players, but as we saw by his score yesterday, some really smart play. Got him right here in a tie for the lead. Steve, as you mentioned, Koling and Wysocki with a definite advantage here. We're seeing a forehand by Wysocki that sits down. And he's landed just inside the circle. It's been a little fun banter back and forth with one of our favorite Dana Vici and Jeremy Koling as to when Koling's throwing his pro bosses. It seems as if he sometimes hasn't kept them under control, but here on the first hole he certainly did. Looks to be an overstable mid-range here, maybe a gator. He's asking for it to sit. The greens are not very fast here with this longer grass, but he's about 15 to 20 feet long.
So Terry, Bobby's got about a 25-footer with a very, very fast green. At this point in the round, should he be going for this, or should he recognize it's a long round and maybe I need to play safe?
Oh, this is certainly a putt that he's going to be running at. There's not any OB. It is on a slope. However, there's not any OB, and with him throwing his second shot in the sand trap, he's hoping to get up and down and still walk away with a par here. He's definitely running this, and he's going to make it. Oh, and now incorrect. He, with the hill adjustment, comes up high on that, hits the band, and thankfully it stops. Uli's looking straight uphill, inside the circle by approximately a meter. He's got a gentle right to left wind, so he's got to be careful that he doesn't get it up in the air and have it carry over. There is a sand trap behind him. And now the wind has picked up. It was very calm on the drives, and Uli is taking full consideration of the wind. And I said just that. He had to be careful. It looks like it sat. He's looking at us and he's not getting a confirmation, but I believe that has come up just short of being in the sand trap. However, it was very close to carrying over the basket, just like I had mentioned. And with authority, Wysocki left chain and in.
This hole is playing about a quarter stroke harder than it did yesterday. Yesterday it averaged 4, today 4 1/4. These guys are going to be playing it in 3.75 if they all put out successfully from here. So, lead card for a reason.
Musick will clean up here, walk away with the bogey. We'll be back in a few moments after a word from our sponsor on hole number 2.
I lay up, I get a personal best. But if I hit the putt, it's a new course record.
Welcome back. We are here on hole number 2, 369 feet with danger just about everywhere. If not on the drive, it could be on the approach or the putt.
This hole has more OB than any other hole, almost double the amount of OB of the other holes. Jeremy Koling with a very nice shot. Is that going to skip right to the pin? He's got himself in very good position. A great drive by Jeremy.
Wysocki with a different approach. We're going to see a backhand. A right to left wind. No more than miles an hour at the moment.
Wysocki and Ulibarri both forward this yesterday, going OB and missing a putt. Much better position today.
He is parked. Uli seems to be hanging out wide right, and he'll find himself safe. He is short, but he will be safe.
The spotter is unable to see that pond on this side of the hill, so he's been running all day. I actually got a call about his inability to quickly call that pond, but he's watching the pond behind.
This is coming in low. It's got to get up just a little bit. It's got to stick, and it does. We'll see how the women navigated hole 2 earlier today.
Good shot, Annie.
As you'll see a number of times, Ricky Wysocki usually first to jump out in front of the cart and walk the quickest. Maybe it's something to do with the long legs. However, I think we'll have Ulibarri and Bobby Musick will be first to throw their approaches. If the pond was not there, I think we'd have a completed circle 2. So I'm putting them just between circle 1 and circle 2, which means approximately 45 to 48 feet. Anytime we reference circle 1, that is a putt at 10 meters, and circle 2 is 20 meters. And a dagger by Paul Ulibarri and his step putt. And Bobby Musick will get a good read from that. He has a very similar line, no more than 15 feet from where Paul was. Just about the same distance. The tailwind pushing behind him.
Bobby's on his tippies, trying to see the basket over that hill.
And Musick answers. Solid putting here to
that is a
open the round.
Wind up and over putting clinic right there. It looks like we are going to have a star frame here in the second hole. which is an improvement by 6 strokes versus what these guys did yesterday.
Very impressive to complete hole number 2 in just 8 strokes. This is your lead card. We've got a brief walk over to 3. We'll be back in a moment.
Disc Golf Center is your #1 choice for discs, accessories, and low prices. With free shipping within the U.S. on all orders over $12, discounts from our customer rewards program, and the ability to pick out the exact weight and color disc you want from our live inventory of over 20,000 options. You'll find exactly what you're looking for. Visit discgolfcenter.com, the world's largest disc golf store.
Welcome back, and Steve, as we were moving away from the arena, mentioned a very solid improvement from yesterday on hole 2. Did you say 6 strokes better? They completed that?
Those guys got 2 3s and 2 4s yesterday. Today, 4 2s. Walking off the green, Jeremy Koling said, "Well done, guys."
The ball golf green, way deep of the basket. He's got nothing more than a layup from there.
It's basically exactly where he was yesterday. We had postulated that he would learn and go short left, but apparently he likes it back there. Ricky Wysocki looks like he's learned just fine. Looks well within circle 1. Nice shot by Ricky.
And to clarify, the cart path that meanders throughout the course is not OB. I know many times when we see competitors playing ball golf course converts, you'll see that a cart path and beyond is OB. That is not the case here. And Uli may have made an adjustment from the previous 2 throws. He also looks like he's going to be deep. That's at least 45 to 50 feet deep of the basket. That seems to be a trend here. Yesterday, I think we saw 3 out of 4 competitors go deep, and so far today we've got 3 out of 3. We'll see if Bobby can make an adjustment.
Yesterday, of these 4 players, Bobby is the only guy that got the birdie here. And I'll go ahead and say that holes 2 and 3 are 2 of the most difficult holes on the course. Bobby with an unfortunate trickle into the sand trap. He's going to be OB. Let's see how the ladies played this.
Stay up there.
Big germ from a distance, actually out 2
converting back and forth between metric and feet. So U-disc buying into that. Jeremy with a absolutely fine layup.
And Uli, who finished the left side of the basket, he's got a little bit of a window here. He carries up and over, and he does not even realize probably just how close he was to going OB. He is safe of the sand trap, but not by much. Bobby Musick has landed inside the sand trap, so he will be assessed a one-throw penalty. He'll throw from there. He's also just inside circle one, looking at almost exactly 30 feet. And a great there by Bobby to save the par.
Slightly awkward footing here for Paul.
And Paul just squeaks it in. He's going to also walk away with a par. Move over number. You're going to catch back in. Welcome back to hole number 4, measuring in at 453 feet. This is a par 3 and provided a little bit of controversy yesterday. In the opening round for the women, we saw both Catrina Allen and Jessica Weese go open, and there was a question as to where Catrina's disc and Jessica's disc, as to if it crossed the far side inbounds area or not, and a provisional was thrown, and we're all worried that she did not cross, and she played it out accordingly. I think we're ready to go.
And as Jade Sewell TD has done pretty much all weekend, he heard of that, he put a spotter on this hole, and now that controversy will be much less likely to happen.
They have been very responsive of any issues out here. Huge shout out to Jade and the rest of the crew here at the Utah Open. Wysocki looks to have a really good line on it. He'd like it to push just a bit left. And we know that Big Germ has plenty of distance, however, that might not have the right angle. That's coming in very hot. It gets a skip. It's heading toward the water and checks just short. He lets out a chuckle. He thinks he got away with one there.
I'd agree with him right there. Jeremy was the only person to deuce this on this card yesterday, and that hung in by the slimmest of hairs. And less than 10% of the field deuced this. So if anybody can card a deuce, and they're going to be gaining some strokes on this. Paul Ulibarri puts it safely out to the right. Should have an easy up and down. Let's see what short arm Bobby Love can do.
And that is turned over. He's hoping for it to come back out. There's plenty of space over there. He's going to have a longer approach. Let's see how the women attacked hole 4 earlier today. Correct one, Johnny? Good. How much time? Sorry, it's probably windy. And I believe I stand corrected. Well, there was plenty of space over here. I don't think Bobby got past the barbed wire fence. No, he is in fact up against the fence. He gets a full 1.5 meters. Anytime there's barbed wire, there's usually a somewhat special provision that it's anywhere from 1.5 to 2 meters as opposed to a standard 1 meter from OB. He's really in a good position. The fat part of the green is behind the basket as he's coming in. Simple approach to within 15 feet. I think we'll see a very similar effort here by Ulibarri.
There's a lot of green behind that. Paul might be making a soft run at this.
And it was just that, just missing the basket. Wysocki has actually driven at least to basket height here. Some would call that pin high if you wanted to spit it out a little more eloquently.
Pin high, basket height. I think it's kind of the same thing. On Jade Sewell commented that Ricky's drive on hole 13 was the farthest drive he'd ever seen on this course. This was a crush as well.
And splashing out right side, just barely off the mark. We know that Ricky can put them in from anywhere. He was closer to circle 2 than circle 1. He thought he had it. Little wind behind him. It does not stick. Big Germ just barely escapes going OB here. And he's looking at a very legitimate...
The 30-footer yesterday for the birdie. It looks like he's got about the same distance, but a more awkward stance.
He's going to take his time. He's more than a meter from the water's edge, so he won't get any additional relief. But as you said, Steve, he's got somewhat of an awkward stance there. A little bit uphill, facing a light headwind. But he can be as aggressive as he wants here. And the convert and the fist pump by Big Germ.
So on hole 4, Jeremy has gained 2 strokes on each of his competitors. It's a pretty substantial gain for one hole. One thing that I've noticed so far, it seems like Paul Ulibarri is playing a little more aggressive than he did yesterday, going for some shots. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's get a word from our sponsors, and we'll see you on the tee of hole 5.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
I like standing in front of people.
And welcome back. We are here on the tee of 5. Big Germ, of course, with the honors. This is a par 4 measuring in at 696 feet. We've got OB on the right, OB on the left, and a headwind. This sounds like your perfect kind of challenge, Steve.
This hole, the group, the field as a whole averages 4 on this hole. This group yesterday averaged 3.25. There's a reason they're on this lead card, and they are gunning for the birdie. 700 feet into a headwind. OB bunkers to the right, OB water to the left.
Big Germ with a very stable forehand that is carrying right. He comes up what looks to be short of any kind of bunkers or OB trouble. Wysocki is lining up a backhand drive.
1/3 of the people actually get the birdie on this. The problem is a lot of people get in trouble. And this headwind is not making this an easy shot. I think that turned over a lot more than Ricky was thinking.
Ricky would have loved it if his card mates were paying attention to his footing there. He certainly foot faulted, stepped over the line as he came through on that. I noticed it because I'm perpendicular here to the tee box. Thanks on that big term there, Steve. He would have loved it if his competitors would have possibly given him the warning on the foot fault so he could have rethrown that shot. And Ulibarri with a shot I never expected or thought of. That's his way to fight the headwind. He goes with a stable hyzer out over the OB fence and brings it in.
As we said just a moment ago, he is playing much more aggressive than he did yesterday. He's going to bring more OB into play, but have a lot more shots at birdie. This is going to be a fun round to watch.
I was just about to my limit of fun, but we're going into overdrive here. That's got a turn on it, and he's hoping it can pan out. It's doing just that. He'd love a little skip. He gets it. And Bobby Love's in the fairway. Let's see how the women did on hole 5 earlier today.
Please stay up there.
Big Germ opts for a forehand shot that is nicely placed. It's carrying toward the pin. And he gets the green flag. He's safe.
So I don't know if there's a consistent wind right now. It feels like it's a little bit of a headwind. In general, in a headwind, you're going to want to get past the basket for your putt. Would that theoretically be correct? Obviously, this is a very difficult approach. You just want to get near it. But if you have your druthers, you want to be past the basket on your approach. That's what these guys are looking to do.
More often than not, players will say that they prefer a tailwind putt over a headwind. However, as you just said, if you go past this basket, you're going to be bringing the water more into play. They're doing everything they can just to get it as close as possible. And yes, we're going to experience this headwind for the next 2 or 3 holes, as it's going to be blowing in our face. When we make the turn around holes 10 and 11, we start coming back, and then of course it's at our back for a number of holes. That's very consistent with what we saw yesterday and earlier today. Ricky's looking to play the skip. He's gotten just that, and he gets the red flag past the basket. And I know we talked about it earlier, Steve, but Bobby Musick has outdriven the entire group by at least 80 feet here on this opening drive on hole 5.
25 meters. So I think we're actually pretty close in our measurements here. Yeah, that was, he took the aggressive line, flexing his disc out, letting it ride that wind. It's actually really fun to watch. I would encourage people, go ahead and rewind a couple of minutes and watch that flight again. It was amazing. He's got the smartest and best approach here. You can actually think about it, placement, where he wants to be relative to that pin.
He's throwing a much slower disc from the previous 2 competitors. However, that's not going to probably stay in bounds. The spotter's going to run it down and confirm, and just as we thought, that is a red flag. The wind got under it. He was throwing a slower disc. However, he just released it a little bit too late. Let's talk about scores, Steve.
So we've got some people moving up the leaderboard, actually. Drew Gibson's played 6 holes so far. He's 4 down, currently in a tie for 3rd with Paul Ulibarri. They're both 9 down. Another name moving up is Josh Anton and Austin Turner. They're 4 down and 5 down, respectively, sitting at 6 and 7 down overall, and in 6th and 7th place overall. Obviously, Jeremy Koling and Ricky Wysocki are tied for 11 down in the lead right now. See if Paul can convert this birdie.
And not much of a run. He's short and left. Can't be too mad about walking away with a 4 here, especially with this headwind.
This headwind makes the hole very challenging. He played that about as aggressively as you want to. You don't want to bring that water into play, especially when you've got a pretty gimme par. Jeremy Koling has, again, another 30-footer for birdie. The wind has died down for a moment.
And that was just about to be trouble, as we thought it might catch edge after hitting the side of the basket. Took a little bit of a goofy kick there, and I thought that was going to get up and get on edge and roll into the water. So
we saw something similar to that at Waco, where Jeremy was in the lead, had some trouble putting, and he had trouble recovering until the last 3 or 4 holes. It'll be interesting to see if that is a trend or if he can recover quickly from that.
And Bobby makes the putt from just inside the circle.
Great par save by Bobby. See if Ricky can repeat that.
And so consistent. Ricky's got to be one of the top putters from inside circle 1.
I think last time I checked, he and Simon were within a 0.25%. I have to see how he's doing here at Utah to see if he's on top.
Speaking of Simon, we know he's unfortunately not here this weekend. We're missing out on him. Paul's going to tap in a little later. We'll come back and talk about Simon and how we're missing him. We'll be back in a moment on hole 6.
For driving with power or into a headwind, Vibram designed a distance driver with amazing glide and a strong, predictable fade. It is the ideal disc for big arms, forehand drives, and smooth right-to-left finishes. Introducing the Olace from Vibram. Durability, grip, performance.
Welcome back, everyone, to hole number 6. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Steve Dodge. And Steve, we are on the easiest hole on the course statistically, are we not?
I was going to call it the 18th most difficult. There are 17 holes that are harder than this, making this the easiest hole on the course, a 2.5 average. You're going to watch the women do even better than that in just a moment. There's Jeremy Koling on the tee.
Jerm with a forehand tracking right to the basket and within 5 feet. Also a forehand here by Wysocki. It's just a bit shorter, however, has nearly the same result. He's within 8 to 10 feet.
If you had to do a CTP contest, would you bet on one of these next two guys, or would you bet on Germ?
Uli is very good with the forehand, however, that one's short. I like the backhand. I'd take Bobby Love. And Bobby goes with a backhand, tracking into the pin just to the right. He's also within 15 feet. Let's see how the women did here on hole 6. And Uli can give us an aggressive run uphill from the drop zone. However, he's going to be likely relinquishing 2 strokes to the rest of his card mates here.
They've been calling this the Disc Stalker Bell, the island hole. Apparently from up above it looks as the shape of a bell. Perhaps the Liberty Bell is a bell that people might know.
And Bobby is in for birdie. Big Germ keeps the bag on. That's a pro move. Wysocki's going to tap in, and as I said, the bogey by Paul Ulibarri. Very brief walk over to hole 7. We'll be back in a moment.
What did you just do?
I'm stamping this misprint.
Yeah, but you triple stamped the double stamp.
Yeah?
You can't do that.
Can too.
Cannot.
Can too.
Cannot.
Can too.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't. Eric!
Guys, enough!
You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
And Big Germ was standing down as we were giving you the word from our sponsors, and he jokingly said the headwind better not pick up while we're waiting. And a gentle one has come about. I don't think it's anything really worth noting. But yeah, he confirms we're good now. There is, in fact, a wind that is... Germ wants another commercial break here so we can wait for the wind. Steve was just telling me this is a par 3, measuring in at how far? How many meters?
That's a great question. I'm going to say it's a brave new world here in disc golf, because the concept of we actually stood down for about 30 to 50 seconds, and it was calm. And it'll be interesting to see if this gets in his head at all.
Again, a very light wind.
Oh boy. That's turning off to the right, headed right to the bunker, and it skips out and then back in. Jeremy Koling is not pleased with Steve Dodge right now.
Ricky did not turn that over, but instead it looks like he just flat out shanked that right out of his hands. He's not going to pay a penalty for it, but I'm going to call it. That was a shank. That was not a misread. He flat out held on to it too long. Bobby's seen 2 shots. We'll see if he has any adjustments.
It's possible with a headwind, you try to give it a little extra oomph. You know where you're trying to get it. And sometimes when you go from 80 to 90%, you hold on a little too long. Bobby's disc stands up, curves nicely. He's going to be well right in the middle of the fairway. Nice shot by Bobby.
I think Bobby will be more than content just walking away with a 3 here, trying to stay drama and OB free.
This is in fact playing as the most difficult hole on the course today, which says to me there's been a lot of wind coming up over those hills. And Paul puts it way to the right. Just a question of whether it be short of the bunker, and it is not.
Dead center bunker. We're moving on. We got a long walk. Let's see how the women did here on hole 7. And welcome back here to hole number 7. I mentioned a few moments ago, this is one of the last holes that we'll be playing where we're really fighting into a headwind. Possibly on 8 and 9 it may be a gentle crosswind. 10 it would be at our back, and then by the time we get over to 11 and 12 again it's at our back. So it seems as if it has somewhat calmed down in the last few moments as they all approach their lies. Find 2 OB shots off the tee of 7. Solid forehand approach by Ulibarri. And Steve, to somewhat elaborate on what we were talking about earlier, we had a short walk from 6 over to 7's tee, and Big Germ was kind of in a rhythm and ready to go, and he actually stood down just for a few moments while we could run our sponsors' messages. Wysocki throwing his approach shot to within 20 feet. And Big Germ kind of jokingly said, well, there better not be a headwind. And unfortunately, one picked up, and I think it kind of got in his head, and the result is he's OB in a bunker.
Yeah, he's gonna want to put this close just to go up and down and save that bogey. Because around a tree, I don't know if he's in another bunker.
That was certainly a misfire. Again, he may have a little mental jitter to shake here, but that was a misfire on that approach. Bobby remains calm, and that picks up and also carries OB. It ends up in the bunker. It gets a late wind lift and falls right into the bunker. It does hit the side of the green, but then I watched it just slide into the bunker. He'll be putting from there with OB penalty.
Jeremy is in fact not out of bounds. He apparently skipped out of that bunker, but Bobby just flew right into it. A very interesting turn of events here on the most difficult hole playing in round 2.
And I was just about to mention how Bobby really had an easy up and down. And that one got away from him, and he's going to pay for it with at least a single penalty stroke.
I was surprised by the angle of that hyzer. I think he hyzered that more than he intended. A lot of times that can happen when you think a shot's super easy and you don't follow through. You just you gotta give the disc its due. It's going to turn for you.
That is really surprising. Again, plenty of room on this right side of the pin. So to get anywhere near the OB sand trap is certainly a mistake. And Bobby's effort is low, hits off the front of the basket. And not what he was expecting, especially after such a great drive.
Bobby loses 2 strokes to himself on this hole. He got a 3 here yesterday. He's going to be getting a 5 today. As Jeremy Koling to save his bogey, which he also got yesterday.
And out of his hand, he never got it above the basket's rim. Big Germ's going to walk away with a double bogey 5. And Ricky can't believe it as he hits center chains and it pops back out at him. He taps in. This group is continuing to struggle, or should I say get bit by hole number 7. Paul's going to take all of his time here. He wants to secure this short putt. Wow, what a turn of events. The wind is howling at the moment. It's now going to be at their back. We're going to move to the elevated pin on hole number 8 in just a moment. Stay tuned. You're watching Live Disc Golf with the Disc Golf Pro Tour from Ogden, Utah. And welcome back to the elevated pin we find here on hole number 8. And plenty of OB and challenge around this basket, which is perched on top of one of the higher points found on the course. 330 feet. Has been playing on average of 3.09 today. And Uli hits the single tree between him and the basket.
A very critical shot for Jeremy Koling, which he executes.
They're looking at it. We cannot see, nor can Jeremy at the moment. And a spotter is running over. I'm worried we're going to see a red flag come up here, or it's going to at least be a close call as it was yesterday. He gets the red flag. These guys are going to have to collectively get their heads together and recover here Let's see how the women attacked hole 8. Wow, when it's about to be back. Another second way. And Uli has a standstill approach here and executes perfectly. We'll get back to the women's footage here in a moment.
Can't paint a line. If they painted a line,
I mean, like this is all rooted right here, so
and it's
And welcome back here as Bobby Musick is confirming his tee shot had carried all the way to the water on the left side. And Bobby's just looking to place this under the basket. He's done just that. He'll walk away with the bogey 4. And deep of the basket, we find Ricky Wysocki. He's just outside circle 1, approximately 35 feet from the pin, straight uphill.
Ricky Wysocki misses basket entirely, sails off to the right. Terry, let's put a pin in this hole. We all know theoretically you just want to play this hole straight and long because it's safe. You get a shot at the basket. Ricky Wysocki. Yesterday these guys averaged 2.75 as a group. They might average a full stroke or even more than that today.
And what a comeback there by Ricky Wysocki. A little bit frustrated, and Big Germ also expressing some frustration. We found him in almost the exact same position yesterday. OB inside the bunker. I'm not sure if today's is any more or less clear than it was yesterday for him. However, he is going to be called OB. So he's looking to put this in just to save the par.
Heading into hole 7, this card was on a torrid pace. They were by far going to improve their scores over yesterday. And these 2 holes have totally deflated this group. Ricky Wysocki is up by 1. Jeremy needs to can this to keep it at 1. Very nice putt by Jeremy Koling. Hopefully he can recover a bit, reinflate this card, and these guys get back on track.
Uli punches in from 10 feet. And a quick tap in here by Bobby Musick. A little bit of a walk. We're moving on to hole 9 in just a moment. Welcome back as we are here on hole number 9. This is the furthest point out in the course. And as I said, from here the winds will switch direction. Or correction, the winds will not switch directions, but the players will be challenged, as now it will be a right to left crosswind here on 9. Hole number 9 measuring in at 819 feet, which is a lot of meters. It is a par 4. And the average for this hole is basically 4.
It is basically 4. Ricky Wysocki lays one out there. He wants to get it off to the left and have a really good look at this elevated basket. He has done just that. Potentially a little lefter than he meant, but all in all a good shot. One fun thing about the U-disc stats is that they are in fact instantaneous. Terry and I were watching the average for this whole jump between 4.02 and then 4 and then jump back up to 4.02, which means that somebody had just birdied this hole to get it down to 4, and then the following person bogeyed it to get it up to 4.02. Thank you to U-disc for providing these amazing instant statistics. Jeremy Koling looks like he unleashes a little bit of aggravation on that drive. That is amazing. And he has got a relatively, well, who knows what's easy at this point, but 250 feet up and down for the birdie.
Ulibarri placing himself on the left side. Yesterday we talked about it, Steve, that I feel like the left side of this tree line that the viewers are looking at is in fact the more favorable side. I think that gives you a few more options for both forehands and backhands. Anything that goes out and hyzers and finishes left of the tree line I think is the better position, and we see just that by Bobby. Let's see how the women attacked hole number 9 earlier this morning. And it looks like Bobby Musick will be first to throw. You see Ulibarri and Wysocki both head for a little bit of the shade here in this hot sun that we're experiencing out here in Utah. Low humidity, light winds, and temperatures in the mid to high 80s, sometimes pushing the low 90s.
One of the great things about running these Pro Tour events is the fact that we've got so many shade tents on the tees. These guys are able to get out of the sun on basically half of the holes. Bobby Musick follows through a beautiful shot. Could that crash chains? Very nice shot. Bobby's going to have a putt for birdie. But kudos to Vibram and Innova, who are the tent sponsors on this hole and the next hole. If you see a tent sponsor, make sure to thank them and think about buying a disc.
And with a very understable disc, we see Paul Ulibarri turn that over. You have a long birdie attempt from there. I think he needed a little flatter release on that for it to carry.
This card as a whole is playing -2 this round. Last round they played -32. So they've got a lot of work to do if they want to maintain their lead and make sure these 4 guys are on the lead card going into day 3.
Wysocki had both forehand and backhand options. He goes with the forehand, and it pays off. Big Germ also lining up a forehand. In this case, he's a little close to the trees on this right side, taking away any kind of backhand, practical backhand options. This sets up nicely for him. He really just has one tree to contend with. He's not going to get much of a skip, so he's going to need to throw this exactly where he wants it to land.
I'm hoping that's exactly where he wants. He's going to have a putt. Let's see what the women do finishing out hole 9.
Ulibarri has approximately 40 feet. Just gets over the edge of the elevated basket. He's going to take the birdie 3 here on hole number 9.
That gets him back to even par for the day and moves him into sole possession of 5th place.
Bobby Musick finds himself just inside 25 feet. And no one would have expected that. An outright air ball here by Bobby Musick. He'll now have a comebacker of about 20 feet downhill. And Bobby has let something slip here just a little bit mentally.
Looks like he rushed that second putt. I don't know if it was aggravation or just a hurry, but Bobby can play. He just needs to think about it a little bit more. This is for bogey.
Big Germ will be in for the easy 3. We're headed to the back half of the course with a double Mando on 10. We'll see you in a moment.
Are you a obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flashlight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
And welcome back, everyone. We are here on the tee of hole number 10. Our lead card is actually just standing down for a few moments. You're looking at the second card teeing off on hole number 11. A moment ago, we saw Dana Vici throw his drive.
On the tee is A.J. Risley, started the round 7 down, and has actually gone 3 over this round. He's looking to recover a little bit, and that was a beautiful shot, almost pinned it on these wide elevated pins. So there goes the second card, and I see Ricky Wysocki getting ready on the tee.
Hole 10 features a double mando with a basket to the right. And Ricky doesn't like it out of his hand, although it looks like it was going to work for him. However, it did not get any kind of flare or skip. Big Germ second to tee. Naturally, we'll see him throw a forehand.
He, Ricky, and Bobby all carded the birdie on this yesterday. Ricky's going to have to make a significant putt to do that again. Jeremy has set himself up very well. What did that hit?
It hit the exact same thing that Wysocki's did, which somehow just checks up and stops him dead in his tracks.
I don't see a tee marker there, but it could have hit a little tee marker for the ball golf course. Paul Ulibarri, the only player in this card to par this yesterday.
He's looking to change that today. Keeps it up a little higher in the air. Looks like the players may need to keep this in the air versus playing any kind of skip or carry off the ground.
For the rest of the field, this is playing as the 4th easiest hole, averaging 2.8.
And Musick means business. He's removed the hat, which you never see, and he's off into the left. Let's see how the women did earlier on hole 10.
It's
Looks like Bobby Musick will be first to throw. He is outside circle 2. Quite a distance. He's looking at close to 90 feet from the pin. A little bit of a left to right wind. He's running it hard. Just hits off the front of the cage.
It was a great run with a slow green. He gave that a very good shot. He's shooting 11 strokes worse than he did yesterday. He needs something to turn this back around. Ricky from 50 for birdie.
On line but short.
I guess that was a wind issue right there. You could feel that little wind kick up just as he putted. I think it knocked it down just a hair. Right now, Ricky Wysocki's 12 under par. Jeremy Koling is 11 under par. If he gets this, they're tied. See how that works there?
Huge putt by Big Germ. We'll see if that's a little bit of a momentum shift to steal Ricky Wysocki's term. Gives himself a little fist pump. Our entire card has been struggling now ever since hole 7. But as you mentioned yesterday, Paul Ulibarri, the only player in this card to take the par. He's looking to change that today. Left side and in for Ulibarri. Both Musick and Wysocki will be tapping in for their threes. 2 birdies and 2 pars.
We have to start looking at who's going to be on the lead card next round. We'll talk about that more after a word from our sponsors.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park. For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Welcome back, everyone, to hole number 11. Off in a distance, we see the second card still throwing their tee shots on hole 12. Looks like Big Germ is ready to go here. And that looked like a late release. Germ also turned around. He said, "What is that?" I'm not sure if he was talking about himself or if there was a possible distraction. Ulibarri with a much higher route here, fighting through the tree, or attempting to, on that right side. Wysocki, I feel this is a very interesting play, going with a forehand shot. I know Wysocki feels a little more comfortable with his forehand when he needs the accuracy, and he plays it right into the net on the right side.
He's going to be right around the circle's edge, first circle 1's edge. One interesting thing right here, 11 and 12 are both gettable birdies for these guys. They're not easy birdies, but they're gettable. If you want to make a move, these are 2 good holes to make that move. Bobby Musick not quite around that right tree. He's going to have about a 35-foot putt. Let's see how the ladies played.
Big Germ putting to the elevated pin here on hole 11, and briefly I've got to selfishly give the shout out to the rest of the media crew here, all listed here as basket sponsors. Central Coast, of course, bringing you excellent next day coverage, post-produced along with Jomez Productions. See a little Smashbox logo out there. Thank you to everyone here in Utah for welcoming the various media teams right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. This is Uli for a putt from birdie for approximately 37, maybe 38 feet. And the step putt continues to work for him. Light left side and in as it circles around the basket.
Paul Ulibarri is hitting over 40% of his Circle 2 putts this tournament. Very impressive. He keeps that up. He's gonna rip right back in this thing.
And light with the effort is Bobby Musick. He's going to walk away with a par. Ricky will bring himself a full 1 meter in from the fence, or net as I like to call it. Wysocki with a rare inside the circle missed putt. Maintains his composure. I thought he was going to tap out. However, he's going to wait for Big Germ, who is technically out.
So on the last hole, we saw Ricky miss a putt and Jeremy make a putt from basically the same distance. This hole, Ricky misses that putt inside the circle. He's let a couple of opportunities slip away. They are still tied for the lead at 12 under par, presuming Jeremy hits this 9-footer.
And Bobby will tap in. We're through 11 holes. It's a beautiful day here in Ogden. We'll be back with you in a moment from hole number 12. Hole 12 also features a mandatory, meaning the players must navigate to the right side of the yellow arrow, which is also the net side of the green. This 348-footer was very favorable to the competitors yesterday. All four of these players took the birdie 2.
And not only that, Paul Ulibarri is on a string of 3 birdies. He seemed to have turned things around. That drive was definitely aberrant. Aberrant? Ricky hits last tree, just outside circle 2. It's an interesting dynamic that's shaping up between Ricky and Jeremy right now. And Maybe after we come back from the break, we'll talk about a couple people that are making moves. A beautiful shot by Bobby Love.
Right now then. Ulibarri gives it a run and hits off the front of the basket. Paul Ulibarri almost puts that in from more than 150 feet away. Ricky launches up a long jump putt.
Okay.
Big Germ's attempt is high and off the band here on hole number 12, correction. Bobby is looking at 25 feet. Convert for Bobby Musick. He's going to take the birdie too and be the lone birdie here. Wysocki, Big Germ, and Ulibarri all walking away with threes. This hole not as favorable as it was yesterday. I see we have a little bit of a backup on the next hole. It looks like the second card is in the middle of the fairway. We're going to have a few messages from our sponsors. We'll be back with you in a few minutes right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Welcome back. We have caught up with the chase card. A moment ago, I saw Drew Gibson make a relatively long putt. That was for birdie 2, which is a massive birdie out here. Also just watched Dustin Keegan make a putt. I believe that was for his par 3.
So Drew Gibson just hit that huge birdie. That puts him 5 down for the day, 10 down for the round for the tournament. He's now a tie for 4th with Paul Ulibarri. He's gained 3 strokes on him. 1 stroke behind them is Anthony Barella, who is 8 down for the day, sitting in the clubhouse. Currently, that's the hot round of the day.
We also have Dana Vici here on the chase card. Looks like he's got a little bit of cleanup.
And actually, one card ahead of these guys, Josh Anton also is shooting 8 down, tied for the hot round of the day. 11 down overall, just 1 stroke behind Ricky and Jeremy, who are battling neck and neck, but not hitting some putts and allowing Josh Anton to get right back in this thing.
If you want to see how Josh is doing and move away from our amazing feed, I think I just saw his wife go live on Facebook. Can't guarantee the quality there, but it's great to see Josh shooting well. We may see him moving up that, but found the water.
Yes, and found the water.
And I think our lead card, I'm not sure if they're standing down and waiting, but we're ready on our end. Or maybe someone's using a restroom. No, that's not the case. They'll be ready to go here in just a few moments. Again, hole number 13. Steve, how many meters is this?
It'll be 524 divided by the number of meters that are in a foot. Or maybe it's the reverse of that.
You're great with those math things. You're good at the maths.
Let me tell you a couple quick things. Jeremy Koling got the 4 here yesterday. Ricky Wysocki did hit that par-saving putt. Bobby Musick, Paul Ulibarri also got the 3. And Bobby Musick puts out a beautiful shot. His driver is definitely back. If he can get his putter back going, he can move up quite a bit. He's fallen down to 12th place today so far. Here's Paul Ulibarri, who also carded the 3.
And Paul plays with a turnover shot that's panning and flattening out. He does get a little bit of a skip as it continues to move forward. Big Germ's got a couple discs in his hand.
He could throw both of them 524 feet. Paul Ulibarri looks like he came up about 30 feet short, putting him about 500-foot drive right there. That was a crush.
And a crush by Big Germ. He's just looking for that to sweep to the left, up and over our cameraman's head. Not many players are able to do such a thing. And Wysocki forked the tee in a completely dead calm.
I think we're about to see something very special right here.
Steve just called the longest ace.
I'm calling him, setting himself up for a birdie here.
Let's see how the women played hole 13 earlier today.
Sit.
There you go. Just as you had said, Steve, Uli was a full 30 meters away. See how I recovered for you?
Yes, thank you very much. I forgot that I was in Finland. And we should give a shout out to our European viewers. We actually have a sizable contingent of people in Finland, Germany, France, the UK, all watching, and thank you very much. If you are in Europe and you're watching, oh my goodness,
Front basket.
then you just saw Bobby Musick hit almost an amazing putt. And you should go next door, say bonjour, and then tell them to go watch the final third of this second round at the Utah Open presented by Latitude 64 with Ricky Wysocki.
So close by Wysocki. Looks like he may have the same result he had yesterday with that 3. And Josh Anton, I believe, is officially in the clubhouse with a 9 under this round. We'll see where he will be placed on the leaderboard for the final round, coming to you, of course, at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. I believe that's 1 p.m. Pacific.
And maybe noon p.m. Hawaii.
.38 feet. Good by Big Germ. Another fist pump.
So Josh Anton had just come into a tie for the lead with Jeremy and Ricky. He's now in second place, thanks to that putt by Jeremy.
And Big Germ with the birdie here on 13 is going to gain a stroke on the rest of his leader card mates. We have a very protected green coming up on hole 14. I'm guessing for some sweet action. We'll be back in a moment after a word from our sponsors right here from the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And welcome back, everyone. We are here on hole number 14. Steve tells me that statistically this is playing as the second easiest hole, which is very surprising. There's a lot of danger to the left of this pin with the sand traps. You have a little bit more room on the right, and he hits the Keen banner wall and stays in bounds. He's not thrilled with his effort, but he's got to be happy that's going to save him a stroke.
I kind of feel like I just gave one back to Jeremy right there. The Keen wall saves him. He's got a 35-footer for birdie, and he's already in the lead. Not a bad place to be. Here's Bobby Musick on the tee. He's throwing a nice conventional backhand, just trying to land it soft.
And he's looking for that just to come in and sit down. Comes in relatively flat. That should work for him. He'll be putting back up from approximately 30 feet.
Bobby's the only guy that got the 3 on this hole yesterday. Everybody else carded the 2. It's averaging 2.6 for the field, so we would expect to see at least a couple of these guys get the birdie, if not the Nice. That was a great run by Paul Ulibarri. I hope it stuck.
We saw some sand splash up. We'll have to see if that finished, in fact, in one of the bunkers. And Wysocki's coming right at the basket. And a groan from the crowd. We'll be back after watching the women here on 14. Wysocki from just inside the circle. He's going to walk away with a birdie 2. Bobby Musick looking at 25 feet.
Wysocki didn't even seem to realize that there's a OB bunker right behind that pin. Just canned it. Center chains.
And Bobby with no fear as well. Again, any shots that carry up and over the basket can certainly carry into one of the bunkers here. There's a number of them. Big Germ's going to be faced with a headwind and bunker approximately 18 to 20 feet behind him. Big Germ is short.
You don't say that often. So that puts Jeremy and Ricky again in a tie. 1 stroke ahead of Josh Anton, 2 strokes ahead of Drew Gibson. Paul Ulibarri just got a birdie there and goes into a tie with Drew Gibson.
Moving to the dynamic hole number 15 in just a moment. Welcome back for our bonus coverage here of the chase card. Looks like we have a OB potential. Our camera is right there on the scene. However, Steve Dodge and Terry Miller, we are on the other side of the pond trying to determine the action that's taking place. We see Dana Vici along with Drew Gibson, AJ Risley, and Dustin Keegan all on the chase card. Hole 15, Steve, there was a lot of conversation yesterday about how hole 15 played out. Can you go ahead and just make a clarification or two?
I think it might take 3. So there was some confusion yesterday, obviously, as to how hole 15 was supposed to be played. In the Q&A session, tournament director Jade Sewell clarified that the intent is that all OB goes to the drop zone. The caddy book did not, in fact, say that, and players, because the caddy book did not say, there were basically 2 worlds of rules that were created. The players that played from where they were last in bounds, in fact, we're clearly not trying to gain an advantage. In fact, we're unwittingly probably disadvantaged. After many discussions and a literal back and forth, it was decided that there shouldn't be any strokes given due to confusion caused by the caddy book and the differing account given by the Q&A. So what ended up happening basically was no scores were penalized, and this morning everything was clarified that all shots that go OB, which AJ Risley almost did, should in fact go to the drop zone.
So one final clarification: if any shot from the tee goes OB, the players are to go directly to the drop zone. You play regular OB from that point forward here on hole 15. And AJ is in a very precarious spot right here. He is safe. However, he's just a meter off of the water. He's got a backhand. He's just looking to get it up. Play for the up and down. Walk away with a par 4.
So one thing that I can't help but do is look and see who we're going to be covering tomorrow. And it appears as though Jeremy and Ricky are punching their card to be on the lead card tomorrow. They're sitting at 13 down with 4 holes to play. Josh Anton, the hot round of the day, sitting in the clubhouse at 9 down. He is 12 down overall, so just 1 stroke behind them. Interestingly enough, Drew Gibson and Paul Ulibarri both have 4 holes to play and are 1 shot behind Josh. If they both should happen to birdie 2 of the last 4 holes, Josh would be knocked out of the top 4 and would be on the chase card tomorrow.
Lining up a shot is Dustin Keegan. Dustin's been somewhat absent from the tour this year. Last year very active and touring around extensively. This year he's been a little bit more regional. And he's got a forehand lined up.
Terry, do you see Dustin's disc spiked into the edge just below his foot?
I do. And looks like he was narrowly saved there as he goes with the forehand. He's getting the carry and a roll. He'll have a putt from there. Still possibly looking at a birdie. And our regular catch cameraman Chad is trying to move into position to continue to bring you the action here from the chase card. The lead card must stand down as our chase card is just getting to their original drives.
So one interesting thing yesterday, this hole was playing as the most difficult hole, and we've already played hole 8, I believe, 7 or 8, which was in fact playing as the most difficult hole day. Today, this is the 9th most difficult hole. It's right in the middle. It's a par 4. The average is just over 4. Our lead card, everybody except Jeremy Koling, carded the birdie yesterday. So if we remember correctly, Jeremy's drive going OB is what started the long conversation. It looks like Dana Vici is throwing what I believe to be his 2nd shot.
And again, anytime you are not on the flat part of the landing zone here, it's nearly impossible to get enough power and precision to attack this basket, because this basket is also placed near the water's edge. Steve, one of the interesting components as people talk about video and video evidence and other things, possibly being live and having the coverage that we had of the women in the morning is possibly what brought the situation to light yesterday, because there was a number of different competitors that played it one way and some that played it another. Had coverage not been taking place, this may have not even been a conversation.
You're 100% right. It's a brave new world for disc golf. Football, baseball, a lot of sports have implemented video replay. I'm sure it's a discussion the competition committee of the PDGA is having right now. And I'll go ahead and put my 2 cents in. I'm a proponent. If we have video, we ought to use it. And more at these premier events, we are having video evidence that can be used. And if we can get to it in a timely fashion, I think we absolutely ought to use it.
Well, it looks like our second card is going to move down the fairway. I'm not sure if our lead card is going to be ready to go. I think we can motion for them to be ready to go. We're going to give you our best angle here. Getting the catch will be Chad. This is a very daunting throw here off the tee, trying to find that very small, narrow strip of landing zone.
Chad's camera is standing about the distance that Drew Gibson's shot went. If they come anywhere near Chad, it is a mammoth drive. Bobby Musick puts it left. Let's watch the flag. And it is a red flag. He is left OB, and my guess is he'll go to the drop zone.
Unless he wants to stir up controversy from yesterday. Yes, he'll move to that drop zone.
As we look at this tee, I can't help but look at these amazing mountains. What a scenic venue Jade has given us. We get the green flag there for Paul Ulibarri. Well done, Paul. Although, as you said, if you're not on the top of that fairway, you have an awkward lie.
Wysocki third to tee. There's a right to left wind that is pushing, that's coming right at the spotter. He is on top of it with a green flag. He is safe. And Big Germ will be last to throw. And real quickly, we'd like to again extend our best well wishes to Paige Pierce and her family. Paige, after carding a score that put her in a tie for the lead, she got news of a family emergency. She got on a plane this morning and flew back to Texas. Again, we wish her the best of luck with her and her family. And Big Germ's got a forehand with a very nice angle on it. And he's placed himself in a perfect spot. Let's see how the women played hole 15 earlier today. And welcome back, everyone. We have a mixture of things going on here. I'm currently looking at both the chase card as well as our leader card. The leader card is having a conversation as to whether or not Bobby Musick is safe on the far side of the creek. And in the meantime, I'm watching the chase card throw their drives. Drew Gibson just threw a moment ago. Correction, sorry, that was AJ Risley. Drew Gibson is up to throw next. Drew Gibson, a very powerful thrower, as he's looking at hole 16, playing up and over with a huge hyzer shot to a very well-protected green. And he's gone deep of the basket. And our chase card will move down the fairway. Again, a healthy discussion. I'm going to see if I can maybe check in with Paul Ulibarri or the others here to find out what's going on.
Creek and beyond, right? Creek and beyond.
He's on the other side safe, but I'm dry, but not beyond.
All right, and we've clarified that it is in fact creek and beyond here on hole number 15. So Bobby Musick has retrieved his disc. He actually carried over the creek and was on dry land on the other side of the creek. However, they wanted a clarification that that was in fact inbounds. Bobby's going to go to a drop zone. I'll see if I can get out of the way as our gallery grows here. Bobby throwing 3 from the drop zone. He goes with a turnover, waiting for it to flex out. However, it digs, and he'll have a long approach from outside circle 2. And the wind continues to pick up here, along with the gallery, which is continuing to grow. Big Germ has a low forehand shot. He's playing for a skip here that's going to carry right. It's carrying toward the pin, and he'll have a putt from there, doing everything he can to not give away any strokes to the OB water. Paul Ulibarri is also safe from his tee shot. He'll be able to play this up over the water with a hyzer. He's going to count on this wind to bring it back in for him.
That was a really nice shot by Paul. I questioned the intelligence of taking that shot, but clearly he knows his discs. Puts it right at the edge of circle 1. Here's Ricky Wysocki. It is very fun watching Ricky and Jeremy battling this out, going shot for shot, big skip for big skip, big putt for big putt. Ricky Wysocki putting himself right inside circle 1. We've got 2 exciting putts. This is going to be an exciting finish to this second round. And I remember at this point yesterday things felt a little deflated due to a lot of confusion. Today, all I'm feeling is goosebumps and excitement as we get ready to figure out who's going to be on that final card going into round 3.
Let's see how the women did earlier as we move down 15. And Bobby draws bottom pole there from approximately 90 feet. He's going to walk away with a bogey 5. If I've done some quick math in my head correctly. Uli is just a step or so outside circle 1. Right side chain, it does stop for him. He was hoping for it to stick.
So Drew Gibson apparently bogeyed hole 15. Apparently his second shot went out of bounds, and that puts him 1 stroke behind Paul for 4th place. Josh Anton still sits in 3rd at 12 under par. Jeremy Koling for potential sole possession of 1st place.
Great stroke by Koling. That will bring him into the sole possession of 1st, as Steve said. Wysocki less than 20 feet.
And they're now tied. Again. 2 heavyweight prize fighters with significant arm span battling it out.
Just don't call me heavyweight, Steve. We're moving on to hole 16.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose a brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
And welcome back, everyone. We are here on hole number 16, which measures in at 408 feet. Sand traps all around the green. This is a basket placed on a slope.
We've got a very interesting set of 3 holes to finish this round. Obviously, hole 16, you want to get as close to those bunkers without going in them. This hole's been birdied by a total of 2 people this round. Chris Warfield and hometown favorite Eric Oakley. It's averaging 3.2. If these guys want to gain a stroke, they need to be aggressive and get close to that bunker, but not quite go in it.
Eric Oakley's actually birdied this hole 2 rounds in a row now. I would say the hardest birdie on the course, perhaps.
I don't have those statistics in front of me.
I just know that because it was his birthday yesterday, and I wanted to see how he did. And I checked up on his scores, and he had a 2 on this hole, and I was very pleased for him. He was the only 2 in the field.
Very nice.
It's just deep into the game. Big Germ's just going to take the mic for the rest of the tournament here. I think he's officially just replaced Steve Dodge. I appreciate the insights.
He's going to pull a Barry Schultz at the American Disc Golf Tour.
I'm excited for the return of that this year, speaking of which. Here it's going to be huge. You have not heard that, Big Germ?
I heard it was going to be huge.
Huge. Yeah. That is exclusive insider info. So great tour returning. They're part of a treaty, Steve.
I'm sure they are. There's Ricky on the tee. I'll talk about 17 and 18 when we get there, but we've got some exciting holes to finish this round out. Ricky Wysocki doesn't want too big of a skiff to get in those bunkers. Just get close. A perfect shot by Ricky, giving himself a very smart 40-foot putt without a bunker directly behind. Perfectly placed.
And Big Germ opts for the forehand as well. He wants it to slow down just in front of the bunker, as Steve was talking about, and it looks like it's carried all the way to it. he will have an opportunity to try and save par with a straight-on putt from there uphill. 30 tee is Ulibarri. And again, thanks to UDisc Live, we're able to see that all four of these competitors took threes yesterday. And Uli is, in fact, safe. Sigh of relief as he walks back from the tee. Looks like Bobby's going very aggressive with this, playing for the turnover. He wants that to fade back gently. A light headwind. That's on the left side. Let's see how the women played hole 16 earlier today. And Steve, we have Bobby Musick will likely be first to approach. You and I were just talking about various strategies on this hole. One strategy could be that these players could just simply throw as hard as they want at this basket. If they come up a little bit short, they could have a very short circle 3-putt, so to speak, penalty 3-putt. And if they get past the bunker, well, then they're going to be even that much closer to the basket. I think laying up short to the bunker could be more troublesome, because then you have a higher likelihood with a long putt, possibly hitting a basket and rolling OB on your second shot.
Absolutely right. Ricky has an opportunity to take a stroke on Jeremy, but if he hits that cage and it rolls back down, just as likely to lose a stroke.
Or you could do that as Ricky Wysocki turns and gives the crowd a grin. He knows that was a very impressive putt, even at his level and his consistency. That was a solid putt by Ricky Wysocki.
I'm going to put it in air quotes. That was a winning smile.
And upon release, Big Germ knew that he had pulled that one to the right. He's going to be giving up 2 strokes here to Wysocki, playing from the sand trap with the OB. He'll be tapping in for a 4. And Ulibarri is just about at circle 1's edge. Uphill putt. You got to be very careful with the angle here.
This putt, if he hits this, he will have tied for 3rd with Josh Anton at 12 under. So one thing, Ricky Wysocki, world champion, just gained 2 strokes on Jeremy Koling. I'm just going to predict it right now. My guess is he puts the pedal to the metal and birdies out and forces Jeremy to play some aggressive golf these last 2 holes just to stay 2 down. It just feels like that's where Ricky's headed.
Ricky talks about momentum, and he's certainly carrying it as moves into the final 2 holes of this round. We're looking forward to it. Hole 17 in just a moment right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And Ricky with a forehand here on hole 17. Steve, we saw a number of, we'll say, mistakes yesterday off the tee. A few OB shots take place. And it looks like we have the exact same here today. With our first shot by Wysocki, Ulibarri second to tee.
This hole was basically the exact opposite of the previous hole. You want to get as close as you can, but there's OB behind the pin instead of in front of the pin.
That is tailing to the left by Paul Ulibarri. He gets the green flag. He may have a good angle, but again, danger directly behind the basket. This hole is 375 feet.
About a quarter of the field is caught in the birdie here. You have an opportunity to make a move, especially with very little wind right now.
And Bobby's is also heading left. He gets the green flag. He can't be too far from Paul's shot.
So you have to say, Ricky, let the door open for Jeremy Koling here. A birdie here, he could gain those 2 strokes right back.
Low forehand by Koling. He's got to hope that sits down. It's carrying to the right. It hits off the mound, and the spotter is going to give us a green flag. We'll be back in a moment after the women tee on 17. Okay, let's do it, boys. Welcome back. We are here at Big Germ's OB entrance. Well, I guess this is what I'm trying to spit out.
He didn't go OB.
Correction, he was in fact inbounds. And you heard Germ say commit as he had released his putter there. And 45, Ricky Wysocki is just low, missing the right side of the basket. Looks like Paul Ulibarri is maybe actually just outside of that distance. He's closer to 55, maybe even almost 60 feet. He's got about 15 feet of grass directly behind the pin. Just needed another 6 inches of effort. And Bobby Musick is now looking at 42 feet. And high and left. No fireworks here on hole 17. Everyone with an opportunity to convert. Instead, I think we'll see 3 pars and a bogey with this card playing 1 over par. Our 36th hole of the tournament is coming up in just a few moments.
Ricky Wysocki leads by 1. 1 hole to go in the second round.
We'll be back in a moment.
Sun King Discs, established in 2001. Florida's most respected name in disc sports. Official retail merchandiser of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Currently on tour supporting Discraft and DGA live inventory, free shipping at $12. All orders $19.99.
Bobby Musick second to tee a moment ago. We saw Paul Ulibarri throw a forehand and place himself on top. Next to throw, this is our third on the tee. This is Big Germ Koling. And Big Germs is carrying right and OB. He will move to the drop zone. And Ricky could carry this into tomorrow. Unfortunately, oh, it looks like he's hit the wall and stays in bounds. We're going to see some scoring take place here on 18. We'll be back in a moment.
Thanks. Thanks for... Safe. Thanks. We're not here to enjoy this, are we? Oh, mad. Be safe. Yes. Woo!
And welcome back to our final hole of today's competition. Hole number 18. We saw a Big Germ go wide right. He is the only competitor of this group to go OB.
So Jeremy's at 13 down right now, one stroke ahead of Paul Ulibarri and Josh Anton. He's going to need to hit this to save his par, but it's a death putt. There's a chance if he doesn't hit this and he goes for it, he could actually bogey and fall, or
double even,
and fall out of the top four. The smart play, as you know, is to lay up. Very slight left to right wind. He gave it a very smart run. Not going to get in any trouble with that. Had a chance at the bird, chance at saving the par. In Virginia, we would say that Bobby Musick is morally out, even though he might be a touch closer than Ricky. He'll be putting for his birdie, which would be a nice way to save the round, or save at least a stroke on this hole. hangs that off to the right. It looked like it was going to sit. Here comes Ricky. This is to open up a 3-stroke lead going into the final round. An amazing, sick, aggressive putt. Ice in his veins. Another drop in for Ricky.
Ricky has proven time and time again he is absolutely fearless anytime he's near a basket. It does not matter what's behind it. Musick taps in. He's going to walk away with the par 3. Paul Ulibarri is going to finish strong with a birdie 2. And Big Germ's going to finish with the bogey. There you have it. That is our leader card action here during round 2 of the 2017 Utah Open presented by Latitude 64. I had to think about that as we were excited to close out today. It's been exciting. Steve, what was the story here on the card for you?
Well, the first interesting story is, as you said, Latitude 64. We had 2 Latitude 64 players on that lead card, which was really fun. Bobby Musick struggled with his putter and fell off, but Ricky Wysocki came on strong. He actually was just 2 for 6 from circle 2. He still went for that putt. At the time, he was 1 for 5, and he said, I can hit this putt and open up a 3-stroke lead, which is significant, a much different lead than 1-stroke with 3 quality guys right behind you. What I saw, just looking at the stats real quick, Paul Ulibarri, yesterday 1 OB. Today he did 2 OBs. Very solid play. He clearly was a little more aggressive, and tomorrow, if he wants to win, he's going to be need to be even more aggressive. Josh Anton killed it with his putter. 100% putts in circle 1. In circle 2, he hit 2. Big putting day for Josh Anton. Only 3 OB strokes for him. I think yesterday he had 5. And just to close it out, Jeremy and Ricky both cleaned up their OB strokes. Ricky cleaned them up by 4. Jeremy cleaned it up by 3. So that's why they're still here, and it's going to be a crazy exciting day tomorrow.
So with all of those amazing stats provided by UDisc Live and the volunteers that are out here, who are we going to see on this lead card tomorrow?
So tomorrow, Ricky Wysocki's 15 down. You've got, who else you got? You got Jeremy Koling at 12 down. You've got Josh Anton at 12 down. And you've got Paul Ulibarri at 12 down.
Wow, it is shaping up to be quite a battle. We're expecting temperatures in the low 90s, very light winds, and I can guarantee that the action is going to be hot as ever out here in Ogden, Utah. For Steve Dodge and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, it's been a great day out here. We'd like to thank our crew, of course, with Rick and Chad, Gary to the O, back on the controls, along with Johnny V, producing all of the show from Milwaukee. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the conclusion here of the 2017 Utah Open, presented by Latitude 64.